In the previous video, we'd gone through the Hitachi KK561 calculator testing for signs of life using the oscilloscope, and rather pleasantly it turned out that everything was working, the problem being traced to one of the chips that drives the display. Well, after a fairly lengthy wait, my random circuit board from an unknown machine has arrived, complete with 3 HD3233 chips on it. So I'll just go away and remove a chip and then test it before installing it in the calculator. While waiting for the chip, my brother made up this HD3233P chip tester on a piece of breadboard. The original chip is installed, and theoretically when 13.4 volts is applied, all the LEDs should light up, and then each LED should be turned off as one of these buttons is pressed. So, power on, and nothing. And there's no change when I press the buttons, so that's a very dead chip. Next, I've got the replacement chip that came out of the random circuit board from an unknown machine installed in the tester. And power on. Woohoo! 6 LEDs illuminated. And if I press the buttons, each LED turns off as it should do. So now to install the chip. Oops. Please excuse me bumping into the tripod as I film this bit. It's kind of difficult fitting the chip into the socket at arm's length as I reach round the tripod. And I want to be careful not to damage any legs on the chip in the process, so I'll make sure it's sitting correctly before gently easing it into the socket. And there it is done. Next, to test the calculator to see if it's working. Okay, we're all ready. I just need to apply power and hopefully the calculator will burst into life. So, here goes. Well, that's somewhat disappointing. I'll just check that my current limiting bulb is seated properly in my test supply. And try again. Nothing. I don't understand that. Don't panic, it was just stupidity on my part. The on-off switch on the calculator was in the off position, so turning the socket on and off would do nothing. That switch is now on, so here goes for attempt number 2. Bingo! That's more like it. Just look at those beautiful individual vacuum fluorescent display tubes in all of their glory. Right, I'll pop the calculator back together and then we can do a quick demo showing how it works. The first thing to look at is how nice the digits are on this calculator. They've even gone to the extra effort of having a tiny additional segment on the number 4 to make it look more like a 4. Little details like this were soon dropped from calculators as the price wars intensified. We also have this sliding marker to indicate the commas that separate the thousands. You can have 2 decimal places, as with currency, and then the remaining thousands are separated. Or I can move the slider to the right and you have 1 decimal place and then the thousand separators. And finally, if I move it to the left, you've just got the thousand separators, so I can enter 1000. Or I can enter 3 more zeros and we've got 1,000,000, and you don't have to count the zeros because the commas do that for you. So simple. There's no floating point on this calculator, but turning this dial you can select between 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 decimal places. So, if I entered the fairly standard 355 divided by 113 and press plus equals, we get the result displayed with 9 decimals. However, you can cheat the machine to display all the decimal places, or at least as many as it can handle with the available 16 digits. So, if I enter 355 divided by 113 and then press the times key, it will display the full result of 3.1415929203533982, allowing further calculations to be carried out with more accuracy before rounding to 9 decimals. Above the decimal knob is another knob. In the 0 position this does nothing. In the sigma position, the result of multiplication and division calculations is automatically added into the memory. In the K position, the calculator performs constant multiplication and division. And in the sigma k position, the calculator performs constant multiplication and division, adding each result into the memory as it goes. The number 1 refers to which memory the data will be stored in. Kind of irrelevant as this model only has one memory, but anyway. So if I pop the knob in the sigma position, and then enter 56 times 61 and press plus equals, then 128 divided by 16 and press plus equals, followed by 42 times 133 and press plus equals, and finally 1890 divided by minus 9. To do that, I enter the division sign and the 9, then press the minus equals key to reveal the answer of minus 210. Now I can recall the totals of all these calculations by pressing the Recall Memory 1 key to give us the accumulated result of 8800. To clear the memory, you press the Clear Memory key over on the left of the calculator. And now if I press Recall Memory, the contents are 0. The constant function is useful if you're calculating multiple items using the same multiplier or divisor. So if I want to convert several measurements from inches into millimetres, I can enter 25.4 times 12 inches and press equals to get the result of 304.8 millimetres. Then for the next measurement I only have to enter the 18 inches and press equals to get the result of 457.2 millimetres. And finally 9 inches and press equals to get the result of 228.6 millimetres. Moving the knob into the sigma and constant position accumulates the results of each calculation into the memory. So let's say we're adding 20% tax onto a list of items and getting the sum of those including tax prices from the memory. So I'll enter 1.2 times and then the first price of £45 and press equals. Then the second price of £28 and finally the last price of £68. But I've entered £58 by mistake. In this case you don't want to use the clear key because that not only clears the last entry but also the constant. Instead, if I press the clear line key at the top, you can then re-enter the correct amount of £68 followed by equals, and now I can reveal the accumulated total held in the memory of £169.20. Of course, you can add or subtract from the memory at any time using the fairly standard memory plus and memory minus keys. The rounding switch is pretty standard. In the 5-4 position we get the normal rounding of decimals with digits of 5 and over being rounded up and the rest being rounded down. If I enter 3.1415 and press plus, it's rounded to 3.142. If I clear the register and move the switch to the round down position and enter the same amount and press plus, the result is rounded down to 3.141. And finally, if I move the switch to the round up position and clear the register, and this time enter 3.1411 and press plus, this time it's rounded up to 3.142, even though in reality it's closer to 3.141 than 3.142. Squaring numbers is really simple. If I enter 256 and press the times and equals keys, we get the answer of 65,536 without having to key in 256 twice. Negative numbers are indicated by a small minus sign that appears over to the side here. If I initially add 12 into the register and then subtract 48, it's now showing 36, with the minus sign illuminated indicating that it's a minus number. If I now enter 12, the minus sign disappears because the currently displayed number has a positive value. But as soon as I press plus, the minus sign returns to indicate that the current total is minus 24. The R key allows me to reverse the X and Y register, the X register being what's on the display, and the Y register being the invisible register containing the multiplicand or dividend. For example, if I want to multiply 7 times 8, 8 is in the X register, and if I press the R, it will swap that with the Y register containing the number 7. This can be useful if I want to, for instance, divide 3,402 by 9 plus 21 plus 17 plus 8 plus 26. To do this, I'll add the 9 plus 21 plus 17 plus 8 plus 26 and then press the divide key and enter the 3402, but before pressing equals I press the R key to swap the X and Y register and then press equals to reveal the answer of 42. Entering more than the maximum 16 digits of the display creates an overflow, also turning on the overflow light, and nothing else can be done until the clear key is pressed, which empties the register ready for you to start again. And of course the big question, what happens if I try to divide by 0? So I'll enter 1 and press the divide key, then enter 0. Will it spontaneously burst into flames? Will a big hole open up in the ground, swallowing both me and the calculator? Let's see. And press equals. And we just get the overflow light and nothing else. Interestingly enough though, when I clear the error by pressing the clear key, the display is filled with zeros, so it does provoke some slightly unusual behaviour on this particular machine. That covers most of the functionality of this calculator, and you'll have seen plenty of the insides on the previous video, if you've seen it. If not, I'll put links down in the description. Like a lot of these old calculators, it's a rather impressive looking machine, and I can't help thinking that it would have been more exciting working away on one of these than it is these days entering your figures into a soulless modern computer that goes into a sulk every few days because it's updating something or other in the background. Anyway, I think that will probably do for this video. If you've enjoyed watching, please like the video and maybe even subscribe to the channel, not forgetting to click on the bell icon so you get notifications when future videos are released. That's it for now, so thanks for watching and I'll see you in a future video.